What's up, Resilient Rebel friends? I come to you with another show today called Emergency Vehicle Repair Preparedness. Now, I've been on a kick of just emergency preparedness for all things such as canned foods and stuff like that, and energy. But today I want to talk about in your car because I actually got stranded the other day, and my tools and my supply that I had in my truck, which I'm recording the show from, really helped me out. And I got to thinking, wow. And also another thing that's got me on this was a supply chain shortage. I ended up needing a chip, and I actually had one in my vehicle. Was another time I broke down twice last month, right? And I happened to have one chip to put a fuse to put in my car to get me up and running. I checked all kinds. It took me about an hour before I started checking through all the fuses, and all it was, stuck on the side of the road and stranded, one little tiny little chip, little fuse that all I did was replace. Bam, my engine started right up, and we took off as normal. And I think a lot of you guys don't want to be stuck out there, so you need to be prepared. So I kind of went over my provisions of what I've got in my vehicle and figured I'd make a show about it today. So let's just jump right in. The very first one I have is a flashlight, and they're really, really nice flashlights. In fact, for those of you watching this on the YouTube, this is, I have no sponsors that actually pay to be here, but I've got these flashlights that actually have like this little stand on it, so you can put it underneath your car. You can angle it at different stuff if you're working on things, but it's a very powerful flashlight. It's got USB charging capability, so I can charge it off the solar that's on my truck or off my car battery. I use it for work. I climb in attics. I'm a contractor, so I'll use it for inspections. It's just all around as I love to say on the show, we stack functions, and a flashlight in a pinch is really, really nice. What I really like about it, though, is it's got flashers. So if you're stuck on the side of the road and it's at nighttime, you can literally put this little kickstand on it, and it's got this flashing mode that'll flash, right? And it's really strong. I think it's like a million candles or something. I mean, it blows up. It'll light up the whole place like it's day almost. But that's a really good thing so that people don't crash into you. If your battery died, you've got no lights. As I said, you can use it to repair your car, use it to flag people down. So when I pick a flashlight of this kind, this is like a pistol grip kind of flashlight. I want to pick out something that has USB capability for charging. I don't want to have to keep putting in AA batteries or a bunch of batteries in and keeping them in there. Besides, you keep batteries for too long without using them, they actually rot. So that's why I like this internal. It's also waterproof. So you can drop it in the water if it's raining and you're on the side of the road. I think being waterproof and living in a humid environment as well, it's going to stop from corrosion happening with the wires inside. So it's really good, really well built. Again, the kickstand. And that's what I look at in a flashlight, and it's got multiple uses. Next one is a tire repair kit. And I haven't had to use these. It looks like this little T thing that you grip in your hand, and it has this spike that comes out in between your fingers, and it's got a hole like a sewing needle. And basically what would happen if you were driving, you got yourself a flat tire, and you went to go air your tire up, but the air keeps pouring out, right? Or there was a screw or nail in there, and it just blew out, and you had this little tiny hole. You can actually take a pair of pliers, if you had a nail or something in there, pull that thing out. If it already popped out and you're stuck with a hole and you can't fill up your tire, you'll get this thing with this little rubber. It looks like a rubber worm, right? And you stick it into your tire, and when you pull it out, the whole thing breaks out, and it actually seals as you drive. It's got this glue and the sealant on it. It'll plug up that hole and get you to where you need to get to. I would recommend too that you guys, I don't know if I have it in here, we'll see, but it's a DC powered air compressor, and I have that in the back. I actually used that the other day for work. One of my trailer tires was flat, and I just hooked it up again to my solar. You can hook it up to the front of your truck, and you can actually inflate your tire. I will give you guys some advice though. You want to get yourself a jack stand, or not a jack stand, but a floor jack. Get yourself a really good one. Those scissor ones that come with cars are just crap. They're dangerous. Sometimes they're very hard to use. I've got myself like a 10-ton jack. Of course, I have a very large vehicle. This is a F350 diesel. So, but what's really nice is that I put that jack in there, and it's reliable. It'll lift up half a house if you needed to. But I lift up your truck or your vehicle, your trailer or whatever you're doing, your van. If it's really loaded and you've got an air compressor and it's not quite strong enough to actually put the pressure in the tire because of all the load bearing on your vehicle, jack your vehicle up and let it suspend from that tire, then fill it up. and then release it down. That's going to give you the capacity to be able to get at least 40 pounds of pressure in that thing, if not more. Unless you get a really good one like mine, and that thing, the PSI will get up to 80, which is really hard. Guys, I can't fill up my tires at gas stations because their compressors aren't strong enough to do it. But yet this little DC powered thing that I bought gets me out of trouble better than even a gas station. So worth all its money. Tire chains and cables. If you live in Florida and you never plan to go anywhere, I think that's a really something that you don't need. But every once in a while, I think if you're traveling around, I think even if, we had some freak little storms like that one that happened in Texas where we had a bunch of snow. It's just that one time that I think that it's probably would get you out of your driveway or from work to home, right? If there was a freak snowstorm. Wasn't that crazy? The snap freeze that happened out there in 2021. I like to keep chains and cables in my car at all time. They're very small. Throw them in the trunk or the back seat, and if you ever needed them, you've got them there. It just makes I like to have everything prepared for any situation. I talked about a real car jack, not a flimsy little one. I think keep the flimsy one in your trunk or wherever it's located, but get yourself a really good one. They're not that much money. Now fuses, as I talked about, all fuses. I was stranded, guys, right? And most of you guys, I put capital letters all. A lot of you guys don't know that there's actually a fuse box inside your motor compartment as well, not just the interior. So what you guys want to do is you want to go in, you want to open up the panel. It's not that hard, guys. It just snaps right out, and take a look at all of the fuses that you have going on in there. You're going to have a 5, a 10, a 15, a 25, a 30. You go inside your vehicle under the trunk, you're going to see a little plastic box in there. You consult your owner's manual, pop that thing open. It's just a little snap lid. And again, you're going to find stuff like 50 amp, 30, 40 amp, 45, 25, all these weird different styles. You want to go and get as many of those as you can. I would recommend that you get at least 2 to 3 of each and have those with you at all times. So now when I say fuses, all from inside the cab to the motor as well. Power pack. This one I actually just used the other day. Again, we're stacking functions. The battery in my dump trailer, it needs for the hydraulics to lift up, completely died. So in the back seat of my car, I have this power pack. And what a power pack is again something that's USB accessible to power. When I'm driving, I can literally plug it into the cigarette lighter and keep it powered up. A power pack is basically those things that most of you guys are going to spend about $100 for a decent one, right? It's about the size of your cell phone, and it's just a big battery. It's a big power pack. You just literally just stick your phone, hook your phone to it, and it charges your phone. Some of them do it like will charge your phone up to 5 times. I don't know. This thing though, these power packs, I paid probably about $450 for it. It's got enough power to actually jumpstart a tractor or a big rig diesel truck. I drive diesel, so I have 2 batteries, and it takes a lot of torque to get that a lot of amps to get that motor started. But what's nice about this is you may think it's overkill. It's not. You can use these things when I go on my mini retirements with my kids, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, right? And we have our iPads and cell phones and stuff like that. Of course, we don't get reception, but I like to write on my phone and do a lot of different things. But I can literally charge my phone up to 20, 30 times off one of these. And at nighttime, it's all windy and everything's blowing and it's cold and sandy. We're out in the sticks. Sometimes we like to bundle up inside the vehicle when we're camping and maybe download some movies prior to when we got to our destination, be able to just watch a movie that day. We've had times where it was like 2 days of just like 40 to 50 mile an hour gust, right? It was just miserable. It was blowing sand in your face, but we all piled in the truck, made hot cocoa. We had the power pack there, and we're able to charge our phones. In a catastrophe or an emergency, I think that would really be worth it. But these things also have lights on them, so you can charge your car battery. You can jumpstart somebody. You can put this thing out and behind your vehicle, turn the lights on so people can see you, or just generally to have lights around. They have multiple uses, and I think when you look at the cost of spending $100 for something small, one of those little flimsy ones, this thing not only will charge your phone, but it'll jumpstart your vehicle, so definitely worth the money. I have such things as extra wiper blades. And again, supply chain shortage, I had to go to 2 different places. I bought 2 sets for myself, even though mine aren't that bad yet. But you ever been down the road driving and all of a sudden it's raining and that's the only time you put your wiper blades on? Next thing you know, the rubber breaks off and it's just scratching your window and you're like, oh my God. And you can't see. and you got to drive over to an auto parts store, why not have an extra set in the back seat or in your storage compartment? And that way you just plug them right in. I mean, that's dangerous. If you had to drive and it's pouring rain and you can't see, you're just going to have to sit there and wait till it stops. Or go in the back, get your reserves, and you keep going. Now, all fluids is what I have on here next. I think motor oil. Your engine it's built to shut off if the oil depletion gets downloaded before it ruins the motor. So you could be stranded, right? You should always be maintaining and keeping up on your machinery by always keeping the levels topped off. Now, for most of you guys, you can go to the gas station and probably get some 5-weight, 30-weight oil, motor oil I'm talking about, and you can top yourself off and get yourself a little can. For me, I have to go shopping. I need like 10 40-weight because I drive a diesel. So that's forced me to actually keep my own oil in my vehicle because I have to go to an auto parts store. They don't sell it at the gas stations. So I always keep myself at least about I'd say about a gallon of oil. You know, a line could break or something could happen. You can get a really bad leak. Just keep yourself filled up till you can get home or to an auto parts place or the mechanic. But yeah, keep all your fluids, and we're going to say all. Power steering, same thing. Brake fluid, engine coolant. All of these things some of these things could leave you stranded if not broken down. And you always want to keep them up. So why not buy in bulk quantities as well too if you have the storage capacity in your vehicle at a cheaper price. Every time you get gas, pop open the hood, educate yourself and look at all your fluids. A lot of them are clear canisters and you could actually see a cold level or a hot level or just normal level. Like keep your windshield wiper juices at this area, right? Or your engine coolant compartment. Keep everything always topped off and you'll most likely never break down and your vehicle will last a lot longer. Fuel, that's kind of a hard one. I don't really actually carry fuel in my car, but I've been thinking about it. I've got these jerry cans, the metal ones, the kinds they use in the Army. And I've got probably about, I'd say about 60 gallons of gas stored in my storage container for emergencies. But I haven't really found the need to keep it on me, but it probably would be a good idea. At least maybe just a gallon. I don't know how many times we've been driving down the freeway and you see that poor guy walking with like a empty water jug, just to give the stick, just walking down to get gas because he ran out, right? Or if you see somebody else who ran out, right? You have the capability of fixing their tire, jump starting them, or giving them some gas, and it's helping a bro out. One of the things I wanted to share, which I never had to use before, it's a chemical, a fuel treatment called Seafoam. And what this is supposed to do is clean out your injectors and all the gunk and everything inside your vehicle. But what I didn't know, a friend of mine who's just this lunatic guy who knows how to, those guys that know how to fix everything? He's one of those guys. And what he told me was to keep some Seafoam because sometimes in diesel, water will accumulate in the gas and it'll actually stop the car from running. He says this also happens in regular gas vehicles as well. It happened in his wife's car. He couldn't get it started. He goes, you know what? I'll bet you there's some moisture and there's some condensation in the tank. He dumped a bunch of the Seafoam in there, waited, started the vehicle, wham, started right up. It just blew all the stuff out of the injector lines. So something really good to keep. Actually supposed to help you get better gas mileage and help the performance of your vehicle in general. Spark plugs. I don't run on spark plugs. I have a diesel, so mine's through compression. Glow plugs and stuff like that. But a lot of you guys should probably carry enough spark plugs on you just in case if something misfired. We just actually had my ex-wife's car. She was with the kids and they were broken down and the car was just rattling. It was just rumbling all over the place. And it was actually the spark plugs. The fuel goes pressurized through your vehicle system in a gas motor, and it has this pump that makes an injector that makes it into a vapor, and guess what ignites it to cause the combustion is the spark plug. It'll give it a little spark and it'll go push and causes an explosion. Well, if it's not sparking correctly or sparking at all, one of your cylinders, your motor is going to start wobbling and you may be broken down, or it may cause damage to your motor when all you really had to do was slide a new one in there and you were good to go. All right, Serpentine belts, that's one of the ones that I broke down in last month. Something happened to my power steering pump, the power steering pump. It was crooked, and it ate up the Serpentine belt, and everything just crashed, and I was stranded. Or was I? Nope, I had a Serpentine belt in the back. I put that new one on, drove myself to the auto parts place. By the time I got to the auto parts place, it was almost entirely chewed up, but it got me off the side of the road. So good things to keep in there. I mean, radiator hoses, all these kind of things. You want to keep these things with you. If you pop a hole in your radiator, your engine starts steaming, all you have to do is take yourself your new hose, exchange it out if you're so savvy. You may have lost some fluid, but if you've been listening to this show and you are prepared, you have enough engine coolant that you can refill up in your reservoir, and bam, you're back up on the road. I also want to mention about water. I keep about 6 gallons of water in my truck at all times for work anyways, and also have a little mini water filtration system for drinking water in case I was ever stranded. But water is a good thing, at least a gallon. You would want to add that to your radiator in case you ever ran out. Not necessarily just drinking water. I mean, you can go buy yourself like a $2 gallon of Arrowhead water or something and just keep it there in a compartment someplace. You could either drink it or you could use it for repairs. If you were ever messing with something, excuse me, and you get all greasy or you pull the part off, it's happened to me a couple times, you could dab it with a little bit of water and clean all the dirt off of it so you can see what the heck's going on, or clean your hands up. That actually happened to me with the Serpentine belt. Once I installed it, I had grease all over my hands, and I just took a little bit of my drinking water and I had some soap, and I got all the grease off myself so I didn't spread it all over my car, so it really did come in handy. A couple of things that I do too, it's probably not for the regular person, is I carry a starter and an alternator in my car at all times. I haven't had to replace these, but if you ever go and your car won't start, it starts clicking like tick, 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 tick like that, that means that your starter's bad. And if you're stranded someplace, see guys, when I go on my vacations, I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's no help. So that's one of the things, and I've got 2 children with me, so I need to be prepared. But I got to thinking, why would you not do this anyways, right? Who wants to be stuck on the side of the road and have to call AAA or, and then have your car taken to the mechanic, and then when you could just fix it yourself. So that's the kind of thing that I like to move from, as I said, from surviving to thriving, and really having more control over my own life, my own finances, and my own life skills to be able to fix things sometimes before they even break. Last one I have on here is Radiator sealant. I've never used it before, but it's this little tiny canister, and basically I think it's like ground up pulverized aluminum, and your radiator is made out of aluminum. If it ever sprung a hole and it's squirting, hot water out through pressure, you simply shut your vehicle off, wait till the radiator cools down. Of course, you don't want to open up that thing and have it splash up, the steam up and burn your hand. I've seen it happen before. Wait till your car cools down, pop the cap a little bit, make sure there's no steam coming out, there's no pressure in the thing. Once you can get it open, and it's really, guys, educate yourself, because you can hurt yourself really bad not knowing what you're doing. But if you do know what you're doing, pop that cap off, dump this little powder aluminum stuff inside your radiator, start your, put the cap back on, start your vehicle. What's going to happen is it's going to cause pressure, and all that water coming out of that pinhole where you were stuck, where it took away the pressure, all this stuff's going to accumulate like red blood cells, right? Like when you cut yourself and you're bleeding, you get all that coagulation in there, it stops the bleeding. Works in the same principle. As it starts to pack in there, the fine dust, it'll actually weld itself back shut and get you back on the road. So there's a heck of a lot more. I mean, I can keep going. I've got, this truck is pretty much tricked out. I love my vehicle, but I want to keep it that way. I want to keep it in good shape. And I also don't want to be stranded. And there's a lot of things that I shared with you guys today that I think could really help you guys out and save you guys a lot of time, a lot of headache. And just the fact that having all this stuff alleviates a lot of stress. So when something does happen, I'm ready for it. Last thing I didn't have on my notes here is have yourself go and invest. Buy yourself a $150 or even an $80 toolkit. I like Craftsman myself with sockets, wrenches, and everything. It comes in a nice little box. Keep that in your vehicle. It literally will pay for itself 1,000 times fold. I cannot say that one enough. I purchased really good tools. I think I have a $280 set behind my seat in the back. And you know how much money that saved me? Thousands and thousands of dollars, guys. And not to say that just on my vehicle. I fixed my house. I fixed other people's vehicles. On my jobs, it's made me money. Again, stacking functions in plumbing and roofing, all kinds of different applications you can use. These things come in handy. So, guys, that's what I got for you. And I hope that you guys see all of this as empowerment and how it can make your life even from going from good to even better. All right, guys, that's the show. I want to thank you guys, each and every one of you, for taking the time out and being here today. And if you guys can, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. If you did give me a thumbs down, please let me know why. I love to hear all your guys' opinions, but it really helps me out. That's all I'm asking is if you guys like and share, comment on the show. It helps the algorithms for this show to get known. That's what's going to keep the lights on around here. So guys, there's an email down below in the description. If you guys want to make any comments, just say hello, give any suggestions. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. And human up, my friends.